Yes, and it is clear Mayor Eric Johnson has run out of patience with the leadership at the Dallas Police Department. He wrote a terse letter to Dallas City Manager T.C. Broadnax, basically telling him to tell the police chief and the command staff to come up with a plan to fight violent crime. It's a question that we've been asking for months. News 8 first reported yesterday that the murder rate is expected to be higher than it's been in decades. And we reported that of the 192 murders so far this year, 127 of the victims have been African-American men. Violent crime is up all across the city, up nearly 10% from last year. There are hundreds more aggravated assaults and robberies. In his letter, the mayor says he expects the police department to work more aggressively and transparently towards making Dallas safer. He told the city manager to instruct DPD to produce a comprehensive written plan to reduce violent crime, and he wants it by the end of the year. The level of violent crime, he says, we have seen through the first 11 months of 2019 is patently unacceptable. We have already far exceeded the homicide total in 2018, and Dallas is now on pace for more than 200 murders for the first time since 2007. The number of African Americans alone who have been killed in our city in 2019 is staggering. He goes on to say, in light of this undeniable increase in violent crime, I do not believe the City Council has received sufficiently a clear explanation of what is driving this increase or what the police department's specific plan is to reverse it. The mayor also says the crime rate DPD is giving the council is not clear, it's confusing, and quite frankly gives the appearance that all is well. It is extraordinary that the mayor is instructing the city manager to basically tell Police Chief Renee Hall and her command staff to come up with a plan to fight crime. Typically, police chiefs in the past have had detailed plans and ideas about how to deal with this. And the mayor wants answers, and he wants results, and he wants them soon. Back to you guys.